And we are back on the CubeKrowd server. I wanted to show you guys my little build before the server gets reset. Yeah, we're about to reset the server for 1.13 one of these days. And yeah, in order to get there, starting out in the amazing Nether Hub. What an amazing build. I feel like I should take a screenshot of that. Yeah, I'm gonna miss this place. And the Nether tunnel was kind of fun. One of the things I loved was everybody's own little personal take on their Nether tunnel. So here's a little idea of a fish tank. There's a guardian, and fish in item frames. Of course, now we can do the fish, the actual real fish that are in the ocean, added in 1.13. Once we add 1.13. Or I guess we'll be updating the whole world. But this is my tunnel. So I shared the first part. I'm a bit to the west, and the first part of the tunnel was shared with some people who lived kind of out in my direction, and they had a nice little rail system that you could get in, and it would scoot you out in this direction, and you're sort of running through carpet, which doesn't stop you, but does stop things from spawning. Oh, of course, fail. There's a rail missing there. But anyway, we'll run the rest of the way, I guess. But yeah, that was, I'm not sure if their final idea was cobblestone for this bit. Maybe they were going to do stone kind of. Yeah, it looks like this is kind of what they had for their idea, was to make it look like it was natural stone, but never quite got to it. Like so many things, you have big ideas and then don't quite finish them up. But this was their Nether portal, and then this is my area. Living out in the jungle, I wanted to bring the jungle into the Nether. So this was my idea to kind of have all these natural blocks invading the red netherrack, and kind of looks like it was getting all moldy and kind of just growing on its own. One of the other reasons I had things hanging down was to prevent ghasts from spawning. The ghast that is crying outside this tunnel here would blow things up if it spawned in here, and ghasts need a certain big space to spawn. So having these things hang down makes it feel kind of cozy, but also prevents gas from spawning. And then this is kind of a neat thing. There's ice underneath these path blocks, and the fact that you take path blocks and make them just a little bit lower than normal grass actually puts you into contact with the ice. Maybe you can kind of see I'm kind of gliding, but that also helps you get the fast running feature of ice. So that was a quick little ice tunnel ride out to my tunnel here, and we will go through the tunnel, and I'll spare you the tunnel ride. All right, and this is the entrance hall, sort of grand entrance. Doesn't really serve a purpose, but I liked using the triangle shape to kind of give a forced perspective of an even bigger space. It's not that big really, but having these gold lines kind of go out like that, I don't know, gives it a little bit forced, kind of interesting perspective, I thought. So I don't know which way to go from here. It's kind of a sprawling base. I think I'll just go up from here. The second floor, I don't know which floor you'd call this, but this is kind of the main floor with the most function. I like the design. It's pretty busy. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of different blocks. I think, like I was saying when I was showing you my creative plot, you kind of want to choose a palette, and it sort of limits the number of colors and textures that you're going to be bringing into the build. And in this case, I did not really limit myself, obviously. I was obviously using the prismarine blocks a lot. There was a new addition to the game when the server launched. But beyond that, I also was using the new stained terracotta, a lot of different colors here in this kind of decorative floor. And then the ceiling is all kind of precious material. I built the entire base out of gold, essentially. And you'll get a view from it from the outside. But I have essentially enchanting on this side and potions on this side. Kind of a simple setup. I had 6 brewing stands with hoppers that could feed them, and then at a certain point, these buttons would turn off these hoppers underneath just long enough to empty the hoppers out. It doesn't work anymore, of course. And then there are, let's see, oh, this is the nether wart farm that I had set up over here. The water kind of feeds all the nether wart in here, and then you can take the nether wart out and very easily reach all the blocks to replant it. And it's not a huge farm, but it's a very easy farm, and so it's never a big deal to come and harvest it and then replant it. So you end up with lots. Then I had all the materials you need, and then some leftover potions supplied there. Over here, I had all the enchanting books, full library of everything. Yeah, all the books with the enchanting table here. I guess some extra lapis and some extra materials here. Some of the leftover picks and stuff. These are some enchanted items. I don't know if I have any. Oh, a couple of little things. A looting sword. Yeah. So some extra gear if in case I ever died and I needed extra. This was kind of the main floor for the enchanting and the brewing. And then the main top floor was the main storage room. And this is kind of the setup I used. I didn't put the, I liked having the item frames not on the chest, which gives you easy access. And this is kind of the organization I used. Couple of things. There is a sorter here. So this chest actually feeds a big auto sorter, which I can show you downstairs. But beyond that, this is just kind of the precious items I have. I had, then of course shulkers came into the game, and I have those strewn all about. And then this is just sort of overflow, I guess, over there. But I had a little auto furnace set up, and I think my bed was there. This is the map of the area. You can get a glimpse of what we are on the top of here. We're at the very tip of this big pyramid here. And without further ado, I guess we'll go outside and kind of get a view of this as dawn breaks. Nice. Yeah, I'll just fly around real quick. Whoop, I'll try to anyway. Do I have my wings on? Yep. Anyway, take two. There we go. So yeah, big old golden ziggurat, a big pyramid, I guess, and different levels with stairways kind of leading up in different corners. Maybe I'll land up here for a quick, whoop, there we go, an overview. Yeah, so I had 1, 2, 3 different levels, I guess, so like a sub level there, and kind of surrounded a little bit of a moat on this side. I started a natural bank over there, and water streaming down. This is actually, I think, just a couple of different source blocks which feed these water streams, which go all the way down. And obviously a lot of gold required for this build, which is the reason for this huge tree over here. And in the far, just out of render distance, you can see a gold farm. Might as well go up there. And this is one of these standard big portal gold farms where you have huge surfaces of nether portal. Let's see, I'm gonna fly all the way through. Yeah, there we go. And that attracts pigmen, which spawn in there and then get fed down through this. Oh, I was afraid I was going to crash. That'd be embarrassing. Through this tunnel here, boosh, and I have an option of turning this on to have them fall. Hopefully soon they will start to spawn. They can fall down here, then I can chop at their ankles to either, yeah, I guess maybe I'm out of spawn range right now, but use this ladder. Hopefully I won't fall to my death. Yeah, here we go. There's a few pigmen. They'll fall down. You can get a glimpse of them here. Oops, here we go. This is kind of an AFK spot, and you can see them there. So if you drop down, where were we? Here. Around and around in a circle. I guess guess I'll just take the ladder. Yeah, so I had an option of, if I wanted experience, I could hang out here on this level, and they were basically a one hit kill at that point. Although I'll use my sword. That way you get experience, and then you could feed their golden swords down here to get cooked into more golden nuggets. But then you could also just let them drop and collect all their goodies all down here, dropping down, crash. So this is where all their gold gets accumulated. I have one of these standard sorting systems which sorts out the rotten flesh and the gold nuggets, which is the whole idea for this farm. So I would come up here, get the gold nuggets, and make some golden bars, and then I would make some golden blocks, and then I would go down there and I would make a golden pyramid. So let's continue this tour up here. I'll flow down. I was starting a big sugar farm out here, more decorative than useful. I did use this farm down here on the ground floor. Anytime I needed way too much paper, I would come down here and just chop away. And I had water under here covered up with carpet, which kind of a handy way of keeping the, oops, I knew I was going to miss that. Handy way of keeping the water covered without making you pop up and down when you're harvesting. And then this was, one of the very first farms. I just had standard. I'll harvest this farm while we're here, might as well. So that just lets the water flow all down, picks up all the crops, and drops it down into this little water stream. Really sort of standard. This is before you even needed a lot of redstone. It's just a few pistons basically letting the water flow down. And that was useful just for food at the beginning, and then for villager trading later. This is a little sheep farm. I had set up a few different pens for the sheep, and I could come over here. Oh, I have shears right there already. And by stepping on that, it would let the water out, and I could come over here, shear them up. They'd hop up and down, each volunteering to be sheared. I have them all green at this point, but you could dye them whatever color you want. And then when you're done, you could just hit this again. All the wool would be pushed by the water stream down into these hoppers. Then you could just, collect it somewhere there. Anyway, yeah, and I had a few of these set up. And let's see, where will I go next? I'll just continue. Might as well just keep recording. Oh yeah, and this is a villager I had. This is a poor guy. This cleric. He likes all my rotten flesh, which I get from the gold farm, and that's where I get a lot of emeralds. But this is a stairway back up to the main entrance here, and where we came in. What else is over here? This was a villager breeder. I had villagers breeding here, which worked great for about 15-20 minutes, and then they stopped breeding. But they at first were dropping their little kids in here, and there was a water stream when I had a few which were collecting down here, but that stopped working. And then on the other side, this is where I have the storage sorting system. Let me show you. It's kind of a interesting problem to get the items from the top floor, where I had the storage bin here. Let me get some items which could be sorted. I'll put the cobblestone in here, and as I put them in there, see, they start emptying out. It won't empty out while the chest is open, but they get sorted down. And follow that. There's a hopper there, which feeds them along this little hopper chain, and then it goes down here, which I've disguised with these banners, and it gets dropped down there, continues down all the way, oops, crash, to over here. Yeah, and then this hopper chain continues along all the way down to here, which then leads to all these items, which I ended up with more than a double chest of. Of course, sort of crowded, because every now and then I would see a zombie villager and I would heal them. And I ended up with a villager here that I didn't want to move, so I tried sort of arranging the floor around him. But this was that little storage area, then the villager breeder again. The other thing, oh yeah, and this was the original melon farm and a little tree farm over here. One thing I will show you is the normal way that I would get to the gold farm. I had a little rail system here, which I could take like so. And that would take me down. Hopefully it's not clogged up with another rail car. But yeah, this was before Elytra, and I could just fly up there. This was the best way to go. I did have a stairway up the middle of this tree, but the railway was definitely the easiest way, and also gives you kind of a nice view. But yeah, the tree was, I did a lot of different textures. I used some wool, brown wool, and then different planks, and I think some clay, but I didn't really change the, it was basically just round all the way up. So it's not my strongest effort ever, but I essentially wanted something to get me up to this big gold farm. The idea of having it up in the sky is to prevent other things spawning, which would prevent the pigmen that you want to spawn. You want as many pigmen as possible, so you don't want other things spawning. So you go way up in the sky, and nothing will spawn down on the ground. That's the idea. So, and then I sort of extended the whole jungle build. My idea is that I had this kind of magical temple, which was bringing this green. I love the bright green grass of the jungle right there. And then over here in the taiga, it becomes this much darker, kind of like almost winter color grass. So the idea was that there was this source of life that was feeding this magical, vibrant green grass out in the middle of the taiga. But of course, we're right on the edge of this jungle. So I had a little temple, or a little tower, which was sort of on the border of the jungle and the taiga here. And then I did a foot trail with some gold blocks, kind of the magical gold energy extending from the temple, and this nice sort of walkway going up to a build which will never be finished, but was kind of the idea was a kind of a half ruined temple, big city, sort of mountaintop jungle civilization, and didn't get too far. Well, I got a lot built, but certainly a lot more to go. Let me sleep real quick just so we don't get too many creatures here. I should be the only one in survival, which means I can just skip night whenever I want. See if I can get up in the air. Sometimes it's hard on the server to, even off the stairs. I'll try second time. Second time's a charm. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so that was the overview here. A couple of big dome towers I was going to have. This was an idea of a sort of a magical leaf boat. I don't know. Sometimes you just have to build crazy things because you can. What other game has magical floating leaf boats, right? If you can build a magical floating leaf boat, I say you do it. That's my vote. So that's what I did. And yeah, mostly just stone. I love all the different stone textures, so I try to use a lot of different blocks out of that gray palette and try to keep it interesting. I didn't really throw too much color in here. I probably am guilty of that in general, not putting enough color in. But this was kind of as far as I got with this end of the survival build. And I think that is really about it. There's probably more of this. I knew that was going to happen. There we go. More of this I could show you, but I think I've been talking for a while, and I'll probably just leave it there. Looking forward to the reset. I don't know how long that's going to take to do. Oh, one. I knew I'd distract myself. This is kind of a neat detail. This was a tree farm here. Anything that falls on this surface here will get picked up by a railway. Zoom, going back and forth, picking things up with a hopper minecart, and then that gets deposited in here. But that could be a tree farm or a chorus plant farm if you wanted. I could, I'd put a few end blocks in here so that I could do the new chorus blocks when they were added. Not that I really ever wanted to build with the purpur too much, but it's something you got to do. All right, and I think that will do it. Yeah, I enjoyed this build. It was kind of a big project, especially sort of slowly converted. It started out built mostly out of stone, and then as I got more gold, I would add in the gold. So that's kind of how I did it. Yeah, I liked all those different stairways, a lot of different ways to get to the different areas, and yeah, sort of little nooks and crannies, and very busy build. But that was kind of the idea. I wanted to make it very ornate, obviously built out of gold and kind of fancy, right? The banners were pretty new to the game, so I added those. All right, I guess I should stop talking now. Thank you for watching. Until next time, see ya.